to loot and how to do a lot of the basic stuff for Tarkov. I'm gonna be making this video. I'll post it later, and then I'm also gonna share this within the Discord and let people understand how to loot and how to generally play the game. Play the game at least similar to me. So first, what we're gonna go over is my keybinds and controls, right? Um, so normal WASD movement, normal smooth lean right, and regular lean right and lift. Got fire, aim, switch between sights. I have that bound to Stream Deck, but it's good to know right mouse button, left control. Because whenever you actually are having two different sights, you're going to need to be able to change. And then you got changing scope magnification. This is going to be different for you because, like I said, I also have this one bound to a different set of keys. But whatever it's bound to, I would just, if you don't have like a Stream Deck or a mouse with multiple keys, then I'd keep this the same. Free look is also different for me because I have it bound to my mouse. NVG is not different. This is also a face shield. So make sure you're familiar with that if you do have a face shield equipped. Your helmet device is going to be like a flashlight on the helmet or a laser on the helmet. That's going to be right here, H, and then you can switch the device mode, left control H, so on and so forth. Just kind of go through the other ones that I have changed are going to be crouch, prone, and crouch, prone. There it is. And discard. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Okay. So prone is going to be C. You're going to change it to double click. You can click this little drop down and then click double click. Crouch is going to be C on release. So whenever you release C, it's going to crouch down. Whenever you double tap C, it's going to prone. There's like a half second or like a quarter second read time. So you have to double click within a quarter second in order for you to go prone. Just kind of keep that in mind whenever you're fighting. We got next pose. That's going to be if whenever you hold C and you mouse wheel up or mouse wheel down, it'll slowly bring down your character one little click at a time. You got your walk. Caps lock walk is what I refer to it. So if I say, hey, caps lock walk, just hit your caps lock and it'll bring it to the lowest setting. And then if you hit it again, it'll bring it to the setting that you last were at. You can also change the speed you walk with just mouse wheel alone. So if you mouse wheel up, you'll walk faster. If you mouse wheel down, you'll walk slower. You naturally start at the maximum walking speed, so you'll have to mouse wheel down before you can mouse wheel up. Whenever you press sprinting, while at any level of walking, it automatically resets back to the top level of the walk speed. You got some other things that are interesting, like left alt W and then left alt S. These are going to be your blind fires. You can blind fire overhead. So if you're crouched behind an object, you can put your gun overhead and blind fire. Same thing with the right side blind fire. If you have a corner on the right hand side of you, you can blind fire that direction or around that corner. Then you got sidestep right and sidestep left. If you are familiar with high-low clearing a corner, like a hallway or a alleyway, you can we face the wall at the corner, and then you sidestep to the left or to the right, depending on what it is. Left alt E Q. Inspecting weapon. This is going to be needed to fix a jam. So you inspect the weapon first. So you press L to figure out what the jam is, and then Shift T will fix the jam. Fold and unfold stock. That's up to you whether you use it or not. Inventory. Every time you click, pretty much anytime you move, other than like the slow crouch. So holding C and mouse wheel, this next walking pose. Anytime you move, for the most part, it will make a noise. So if you go from standing to crouch, just pressing C, it'll make a noise. If you go standing to prone, it'll make a noise. Crouch to prone, it'll make a noise. The only ones that really don't make a noise are the blind fires and then the slow leaning, the smooth leaning, which is Alt A and D. If you open your inventory, it's going to make a noise. If you fold the stock, it's going to make the noise. Jump, I have it set to release. Some people prefer it to be on press, but with the new vaulting, it's better for you to have it on release. Melee. I don't usually use those, but you can. Weapon on sling and weapon on back. So weapon on sling is going to be your primary weapon. So I have it set to 2. And then your sidearm, so your pistol or sawed-off shotgun, is going to be 1. Your weapon on back, that's just your in the settings. So right here, weapon on sling, weapon on back. So that's those 2, and then your holster is your sidearm. Then we get down to the slots. This is something that some of the team does struggle with. So we got slot 4, slot 5, which is also 4, but notice one's on press, one's on release, and then slot 6, 5, press, release, and then slot 8 and 9, 6, press and release, and then slot 0 is the number 7. You can change this to press. It doesn't have to be on release. So these are my meds mainly. But you can set like slot 0 or number 7 to like a rangefinder or a compass by simply dragging the rangefinder or compass to your special slot. And then from your special slot, you would drag it to here, but it'd be right there. So medical wise, right? So medical wise, my typical setup, I should say. I wouldn't say with all this expensive equipment, but the typical setup that I would go for is something similar to this right here. You want if I had a tactical rig, it'd be on the tactical rig if there's space, if not pouches or pockets. Personally, I set it up with a bandage at first and then your medical. Whatever it is to actually heal your character, this is going to stop your light bleeding. A Calic B is the same thing as a tourniquet or S-March. Here, I'll bring a tourniquet down here too. Or S-March down here too. So these 3 are going to stop your heavy bleeds. So notice that the Calic B has 2 out of 3 uses, so you can use this multiple times. That one's going to be 5, and then follow that up with a painkiller. So if I get injured, if I get shot, and I'm bleeding, the first thing that I'm going to do is press 4, right? Just a light bleed. I'm going to press 4, and it's going to use this first because this is on press. This first slot's on press. And then let's say I also have a heavy bleed, which is the big clotting. It looks like a big clot on your screen. I'm going to press 5. And so since both of these are activated on press, it'll use these first, and it won't use this. It won't use this second slot right here. So on press, use the bandage, heal up. On press, use the tourniquet or the Calic B, and it'll stop the heavy bleed. Now we go back through and we need to heal those parts that were heavy bleeding. So like, let's say my arm is at 20. It had a light bleed. So I press 4 and release. I press and release 4. I don't have to hold it down. Just press it once. It's going to use that bandage first because it registers that my arm is bleeding. It needs to use the bandage. So it uses the bandage, and then I press it again and it uses the AFAC because there's no need to use the bandage anymore. So it's not going to use it because it already took care of it. It's going to use the AFAC, and it's going to heal the arm back up to 60. Similar thing with the Calic B. I get shot in my right arm. I have a heavy bleed, and let's say it's at 10 out of 60 and it's going down. So I use the heavy bleed. I press 5. It uses the heavy bleed stopper first, so whether it's a cat tourniquet or S March or the Calic B, it uses that first. It doesn't use the painkiller. And then after this is done going through its sequence, I press 4. If there's any light bleeds, it's going to cover the light bleeds because the bandage is there. If there is no light bleeds and all that was a heavy bleed, it's going to use the AFAC. And the AFAC is just going to heal it all back up. Now let's say my legs are broken, right? If your legs are broken and you need to move fast, you need to use a painkiller. Keep in mind whenever you use a painkiller and your leg is broken, it will cause pain and your health will go down overall. So whenever you're running on painkiller, you need to use medical stuff. You need to use like an AFAC, a cheese, or an IFAC, or if you have a grizzly, you can use a grizzly. All right. So that covers kind of the base medical stuff. If you have a blacked out leg or if you're coughing, making a lot of noise, you can also use a painkiller. It'll help. Keep in mind whenever you only have to use the painkiller for one time for all instances of trauma or all instances of whatever's going on. If you use it multiple times, you will get dehydrated. Your painkillers are right here. Thank you for the follow, Glundawall. Appreciate that over there on Twitch. All right, so we got painkillers. Did I already grab? I don't think I have an extra Vaseline, so I'll use this one for now. So your painkillers are these dudes right here. There's some more painkillers. I just don't have them because this is one of my alt accounts to make it easier to go to ground zero and help teach. But there's several different types of painkillers, including injectors. This is the only injector that I have that's a painkiller. There's that. You also have ibuprofen, which I don't have on me right now. But to use this, you can rather right-click use, or you can set it to that 5 slot, and then on release, it'll use that painkiller. Notice though, if we inspect, it'll get like all of the... Yes, press is going to be priority over release. You can also change that to your personal preference. So if you want it to release and then press, it doesn't really matter. Just as long as you have these set to 2 different ones, press or release, you'll be able to use it. You could also set it like set number 5, for example, the heavy bleed. You can also set that to a double click, which would save you more space. You could have 444 and 555. If you utilize the double click, it's just I prefer to have my light bleeds and healing on number 4, and then on number 5, I prefer to have my heavy bleeds there. So if you notice your painkillers though, your painkillers are going to have different levels, different perks and different nerfs, I guess, cons to it. So if you notice, whenever I take this, it's going to decrease my hydration by 5. That's major. Same thing with the energy. That's the benefit. That's the buff. So you get +5 energy. You get removing pain for 150 seconds, and then your hydration goes down 5 points. So if I take this multiple times, if I take it 20 times, from 100, I will be at 0 hydration. If we look at this one, this one's only going to take down hydration, but it's going to take down hydration by 19, and it's only going to remove pain for 80 seconds. So that's something to kind of think about. But you also get to use this one 4 times. So you have 4 uses on this one, other than this one, you have 1 use. The morphine is going to be removing pain for 300 seconds, but you get the decrease by 10 on energy, decrease by 15 on hydration, and just basically you want to right click all of them and see what the pros and cons are each of them, and then also weigh in on how many uses it has. You have the cat tourniquet. It's going to take 3 seconds to use, something to think about, especially in a fight. Same thing with the Calic B, and then the S March is going to take 5 seconds to use, so you have to have some more time. But something else to think about with heavy bleeds, let's say I've run out of these or I don't have an extra one, the AFAC, the IFAC, and the Grizzly can all take care of heavy bleeds. It just costs. So like instead of healing, or instead of how using a Calic B only takes 1 use away, it takes 210 points out of the 300 away on an IFAK, and then on an AFAK it takes out 170 points out of 400 to heal a heavy bleed, and then the light bleeds cost 30 points. Just something to keep in mind. The Grizzly also, it's going to be the longest use time out of all of them, but it also covers fractures, concussion, and radiation exposure, which is something that Tarkov looks to expand on in the future. And then we have the heavy bleed and light bleed. Heavy bleed or light bleed's going to cost 40. Heavy bleed's going to cost 130. It's going to take 5 seconds to use. And overall, like let's say you have the base game of the edition, I would be carrying this, the Grizzly, in your butt because it covers everything. If you, let's say you don't have a Grizzly and you want to carry something else, I would carry an AFAK, a CMS, and a Splint. Those items is what I would say to carry. If you're fresh starting out, you can also use one of these splints if you don't have a aluminum splint. So it would be similar, just carrying those three, and you can replace the IFAK or AFAK with anything else. And then you'd want a cheese up here, and if you're familiar with a cheese or not familiar with a cheese, I should say, it's this little dude. This is what I always carry on my person, so normally it would look like this. And then once this is out, if I don't find any more, I'll use an AFAK, especially whenever you're a poor. If you're a poor and you have to have something, that's what I would use. Is this right here? This is doing my setup. And then from there, we go into kind of already touched in on using the items and how you would use it. The splint is going to be used for whenever you have fractures, and then if you look at your health, you notice how everything's green or in like translucent. If it's red, it's still good. You can heal it with like a cheese or AFAK. If it's black, you need to do a surgery, which is this dude. You keep in mind it takes 16 seconds to use. There's also another surgical thing that fixes fractures. It's called a Serve 12, I think, and or the short name for it, I should say, is a Serve 12. Using that will remove fractures. You get 16 uses out of it, but it takes up 3 slots. So I mean, yeah, you could take your CMS out in that and have 3 slots, but it also takes significantly longer than the CMS kit. So it's just something to keep in mind. And just keep that in mind and whenever you're using all this stuff. But that's really it. For the medical side of things, I'm gonna join back into my Discord and I'm gonna see if I can teach dude how to loot. All right, you there? Yeah. I'm starting this live stream. I just went over heals and how to use them and what your keybind should be for it. You were talking on the phone, so I didn't want to interrupt that. But let's see if we can go into like an offline raid and go through it. Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna do it offline if you want to just watch the stream. I can stream it, or if you're, I'm not sure if we. Okay. Well, yeah, you can. That's what I was saying. You can play if you want to pull up like on a second monitor the stream. Okay. Yeah, my computer's still running. I'm glad. Same. So if that's the case, if if that's the case, I'll go ahead and just mute in Discord so I'm not like bothering you. Uh, okay, so no, I'll still be here. Like if you have a question or something, you can ask it. And I'll unmute. Okay. So this, like, let's say I don't have a splint or anything, or I'm willing to lose a splint, so I have a splint on my character, like that. Then this is what my run would be like. I'd have like a cheap painkiller, which is this dude. I'd have a cheap painkiller, and then this is what my pouch would look like. Some extra ammo, my splint in my bag, or if I don't have a splint, then it'd be here. And then from there we'll have like our gun and our regular kit and stuff. So this is not a kit that I would say go in with unless you're relatively experienced with the game, but we're going to go into an offline raid so I can show you these heals in action and what they look like and how they operate. Keep in mind, whenever you're going in with a painkiller, you also should bring in a water in your bag or in your kit. So I'll bring in a water. If you have food, I would also bring that in. That would be another plus. And I think we're set up. We'll go do a customs. Only because I know all the spawns pretty much off rip for the scavs. If you have any questions, you can just drop them in chat. I'm here to answer them. Your message will show up on screen, so if anybody else has similar questions that's not in the stream, we can get them answered. Hold on, I don't think I went into offline. Also have some music going while we're waiting for everything to load. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know you could do that now. It's really cool. Okay. All right. Let's get it. Okay. So, starting off, we're gonna try to find a bot. All right. I'm gonna let him shoot me and see if I can't get some healing action that's needed. And we have the pouch of what you would normally have whenever you first start. So, just out of curiosity, I'm gonna check this. It'd be crazy if GPU spawned there, but there is a chance of a GPU spawning there. See if we can find some more meds too, just in case we run out. There we go. Sweet. Sweet. That's primarily what I was worried about was bandages. There we go. All right. So now we have a fracture and a heavy bleed. Right? So we have the heavy bleed. We're going to use 5. So we press 5. It's going to use the Calic B or tourniquet or whatever you have. And it stops that heavy bleed. Right? So now we have a fracture. And I forgot my splint. But you use a splint. But in this case, we don't want to use a splint. So we have pain. Right? And we're going to be kind of swaying and jiggling right there. If we press 5 again, it's going to use this painkiller. Right, and it won't be as bad. Notice the screen clears up relatively fast. The outsides start getting gray with the new update. And then we can aim and we don't have movement, right? So now, since there's no light bleeding, we can press 4. Whenever we press 4, it's going to apply this to the arm. Okay, it's going to apply that to the arm and it's going to heal it. Right? We still have that fracture, but it healed it as much as it could. Alright, so now we can resume our fight. Get behind cover, reload, get ready to fight more just in case. Does not appear that there's more. We'll go in, do our looting and whatnot. Something else to remember is make sure you check the scavs. You want to check their pockets mainly for medical stuff. Sometimes food. I'm gonna put that in my pouch for now just to have a primary. Okay, so go through here, loot everybody, loot everything, try to find a splint. If we can't find a splint, we just move on. Notice our pain's back, so we're at the time, the end time for the pain. So now we have our pain back, we have our screen doing weird stuff. And there's no other painkillers, so we need to search for painkillers and try to find a splint. Because if we find a splint, then our pain will leave. Notice also the aim-in speed. The aim-in speed was significantly slower.
Yes, let's do it!
You can also double click to use. That's another benefit. So like I'm eating right now, I double clicked it instead of right click use. Also, first time you ever pick up a gun, so I just picked this up. You want to press B, boy, to check the or to change the fire, because chances are it's going to be on semi-auto. You can, I believe it's Alt B, no, or Control B. Yeah, Alt B. So Alt B is going to just check the firing mode. That's going to change it, and then it makes noise. So every time you change it, everybody around you can hear that click. But if you, like, let's say I'm on single fire, or excuse me, I'm on full auto already. I picked up the gun, it's on full auto, and I change it to single fire. If I click it again, it will change back to full auto without making noise. So that's a big benefit that a lot of people don't know about. Okay, so now you'll see my head's injured. So whenever my head's injured or in danger of losing stuff, it'll start coughing. Same thing with the stomach. So if you just heal that back up or take a pain med, it'll stop doing that. Notice how it stopped coughing. And we're still looking for a splint. So. Okay, this is another bandage, right? It has two uses though. So I can press looting wise, right? So I just had a bandage here and it was put on number 4. Whenever you have your discard set to X, you can come down, you can pick up something that's in the crate like this. I can come down to bandage right here. I can hover over it and I can press X, it's going to drop it, and then I release the mouse button and it puts the new bandage there. And then I drag and drop to there, to the other slot, the number 4, first number 4 slot. And so you can do that with everything. Like let's say, let's see, is there another one around here somewhere? Go over here. Dang, okay. We can go to that guy's body that we just killed. So like let's say this helmet has better durability than this one, you see? So it's 47 out of 54 and this is 43 out of 54. You can do it with any item. Press X and then drop that there. This is a better shotgun than that one. I can drag it over, press X, and then drop it there. And then with ammo, if you just drag and drop it onto the gun, it'll start loading that gun. And you can still search while it's loading. So that's a big benefit that people don't know as well. Alright, now we're gonna run to, so that was Big Red, that's another thing with customs. That was Big Red, just so you're aware. And this is gonna be the North Land Bridge right here that we're walking across. So what I'm checking for here. So now we got 2 fractures. And our stomach's black. So whenever your stomach's black, you'll start coughing. So you drag, click. You can rather, if you have multiple things that are black, like let's say my leg was black as well, I would click and use it or drag it to my leg because that takes priority. But like, let's say your teammates are like, hey, I need you to be quiet. You can drag and drop it onto your stomach because that would take priority because your teammates are asking you, hey, I need you to be quiet. And notice now that our leg is fractured. So since our leg is fractured, we're going to be moving dramatically slower than we would under normal circumstances. If you use a painkiller, it gets rid of that, but every time you put weight on the leg, it causes more pain. So now, notice I'm trying to sprint. We can't sprint. If you look at the bottom left of the screen, the walking meter's turned all the way down. These are on easy bots too. I don't know why they're pushing me so hard and shooting me from such a distance away. So this is what a type of stash will look like. You open it up. Typically there's some good loot in here. Like wires are going good. You need that at the beginning. Sodium trades for an IFAC. Now we get a new helmet. We can put that visor on the helmet. Press X on that helmet. Boom. Now we got a better helmet. So we go over here. We press N. It pulls down the visor. Something to be careful about is now that you have a visor on, now you can hear you breathing a lot more. You can hear less outside noise as easy. So we're gonna start moving up. Hopefully we don't get sniped by a bot here. So here we go. We got another painkiller. Keep in mind, remember, whenever we're using stuff, we can search. Try to get our hydration up before we use the painkiller. And then we use the painkiller. Notice I pressed 5. I did not use the Calic B. I used just the painkiller because that's all my body needed was the painkiller. But now I'm back to regular movement speed. It's something to keep in mind. Now my screen's more gray, so I'm losing colors as I use more painkillers. This painkiller only lasts a certain amount of time. You can go to health. You can look at what you have on painkillers for 132 seconds. Right there. And it just counts down. Bolts is another thing you should loot. You can also control click and notice how it puts it into the first item slot that's available. That's a good thing to keep in mind. You're pressing control and click at the same time. Left click at the same time. Here's something that I was showing you earlier. Notice how my guy is making noise every time I run. Right? So every time I run, and the health of the leg is going down. So it's just something to keep in mind. We can press 4 again. It's not going to use the bandage. It's going to use the cheese. Because it realizes that's what I need. We can drag the AFAC up here. To right there. Drag it to the 4 slot. There we go. The Taz, this is the Taz shotgun. That's going to be another gun that you're going to need early game to turn in for supplier. Notice whenever I'm in raid and it has this gold check mark, that means it's something that I need to turn in as a quest item. If it has the white check mark, it's just an item found in raid. That's all that means. But here we go. I'm running. We just healed that leg up and notice how it's turning back to red. We can go look at it. Now it's back down to 37. So we can rather drag and drop, or we can just press 4 again. Or we can double click it and it'll also use it. Sometimes there's a good item spawn that's right there. This is RUAF checkpoint, I think. This is going to be one exfil that you typically would get. You double tap O, look at your exfils. It's not on our exfil list. This dead scav is part of a mission. You'll notice that you get an unknown key. So you want to examine that. Just know what it is. If you get a key, you always want to, that should take priority over ammo. Or if you only have like one more use of the CMS, it should take priority. And now notice that we're back under pain. I can't sprint anymore. I'm limited on how fast I can walk. So this is Crack House right here. Typically this has a lot of meds or a good amount of meds. But the downside to it is there's a machine gun nest over there that the bot scavs will get on. And can make your life terrible. We'll see if they're on it right now. Because they'll shoot me if they're on it right now. I'll probably die. This door naturally spawns open, so you ain't got to worry about that. If it's closed, that's when you have to worry. If that door up there is open, you also have to worry. Kind of go around. Go ahead and loot up. Try to find a splint for our leg. Anything that's valuable, you can rather put it in your. You can look up the value of it on the flea market before you leave. There's an app called TRG Guide. I can link it. That's what I use to look up values of things. It's on the App Store. I'm pretty sure it's on the Google Play Store as well. Another valuable. Here we go. Here's an injector. Let's see what it is. So it's an SJ6. It's SJ6. You can right click inspect and it's going to tell you all your buffs and debuffs. So you're going to have hand tremors after a delay of 200 seconds that'll last for 40 seconds. You'll have the tunneling effect after a delay of 200 seconds. It'll last for 40 seconds. Your stamina recovery will go up, and then your max stamina is going to be increased for 240 seconds, and then it takes 2 seconds to use. So we'll go ahead and take that for now. We can use it later. And try to find a splint really fast. Search everywhere. Search everywhere for a splint. It's a random spawn. It's a random med spawn. So you can look right here. Sometimes stuff spawns right here. You can also press N, lift up your visor so it's easier to see. Another bandage. We can take that in place of the other one. Notice how I just drag and clicked X over it. We can look around here because sometimes there's some med spawn on the ground right here. And then also on that table, a lot of my Salewas, the 3 Salewas you have to get, have been found on that table right there. We're not going to go in there because on the other side, I'll show you really fast. On the other side, it has that window, and that's directly to the machine gun nest. Come in here, we can search stuff, figure out if we have a splint. Sometimes there's a bag that spawns on that box. And there's sometimes a valuable in here. Hey, look at there, we have a splint. So we can immediately, from where we're at, we can rather double click, we could right click use, or we can click health and we can drag it to the specific item that we need. So if we double click it, we risk the chance of it going to our right arm. If we right click use, we risk it. And then also if we have it set to a hotkey, we risk using it on the wrong item. So you want to double drag and drop. So something to think about with this is So this instance right here. So like, let's say I need to heal my legs before. Let's say they're bleeding out. I have multiple heavy bleeds. I want the heavy bleed on the leg to be healed first. I can hold down number 4, and I can mouse wheel through all of this to choose a specific item instead of going in and dragging and dropping on a specific one. I can go through here and heal a specific one. So like my thorax is low, I want to heal my thorax. So we heal a thorax. Notice our movement's back up to speed. Now, whenever we go look at the thorax, it's not there. We can't heal it because it's healed. We can go right arm. Hold on, can you? Okay. Got a scav here. Let's see if we get another splint off him. Off this scav. It's possible. Okay. Not happening though. All good. But now we can run. So that's a benefit. We healed up, we can run. We can go in here and search for the intel files. There's a valuable spawn on the desk, there's a valuable spawn under the desk, and there's a valuable spawn on this back right here. A lot of my gas analyzers have been found in this one right to the left right here. But check the entire filing cabinet because it does have a random spawn. You need salt for your medicine cabinet, so make sure you take stuff like that. Notice how I'm also getting XP for every time I search an item or search a drawer. So see, it's almost like I would almost say it's a guaranteed spawn, but I don't want to say it's a guaranteed spawn because you may have trouble finding it. Your gas analyzer. Still seeing if we can find another splint for our arm. So this next part, I'm going to kind of go through fast, but there is medical spawn in there. It's just it's visible to the turrets. So what we're going to do is we're going to run in here and check this corner. Nothing. Check the table over here. Nothing. Nothing. Check the shelf right there. There's nothing. Check right here. And right there. Nothing. Okay. And then we want to get inside this room and check in here as well. So sometimes you'll see a morphine spawn in here, and then also a tourniquet spawn and other miscellaneous items. But I did not get lucky with a splint in here, so we'll go out, run down the stairs to the left, try to get out of view of that turret. All right. This is a huge thing. If you find this, take it. you need it. Put it in your butt. Do whatever. It's for your hideout. It's really hard to find for most people, especially if you're new to the game. The cricket lighter is something you need at the start of your game as well. Review the turret. Run back down. Typically there's not med spawns in here, but you might be able to see one because it is a chance to see one. A med spawn. Wrench is big. You need a wrench for your hideout. And just keep in mind, I'm in an offline raid, so since I'm in an offline raid, you're not going to see much that I actually take. So try to get out of that view of that machine gun right there. Run straight up. There are bots that spawn here, so be ready to fight. If you come into this place. Search his rig really fast, see if we can find any meds. Another cheese, so now we can put our AFAC back in our butt and start using this one. And search everything. At this point, you're in desperate need of a splint because your vision's all messed up, and rather a splint or painkillers. Anytime you see a suppressor, grab it. It's worth money. Toothpaste is needed for the hideout. TP is needed for the hideout. Hey, here we go. Here's another painkiller, right? So we can put that on number 5. We can inspect it. Well, we can inspect it. Notice how it's going to take 19 energy. It's going to remove our pain. And then it's going to increase our hydration recovery. So now we have to worry about, with this one, we have to worry about energy. So we can press 5. It's going to use that. It's going to allow us to... Okay. It's going to give this first concussion effect. And then after the concussion effect, it's going to go away. Make sure you keep your ammo topped off. That's another thing. You can only top off ammo one at a time. Notice how I did that. But you can start searching an item. So like, for example, I already searched that. So like this right here. I can press F on it. I can drag my ammo to the mag and I can start searching while it's still going. Just something to keep in mind. And we can drag this injector to spot 6 just to have it there and ready to use. You get XP for packing your mags. So. I think he's dead. Notice his gun was sticking through the wall. That's something to kind of keep in mind with bots too, is they'll typically run into the wall and their gun will stick through. And you can shoot through it with different types of ammo. Sometimes there's a food spawn here. You're in need of it. Notice how my pictures are kind of, or my screen is kind of like losing color and grayed out. So just keep that in mind. So if you notice he's carrying a Taz, I know that he's going to have at least one mag to carry with it, so I canceled the search so I can move on to a different thing. He's going to have mags that are taking up one spot, so I can cancel that if I wanted to and just search the pockets, because we're looking for meds, remember? So... come in here, search all the bags. There's a valuable spawn right here. Sometimes. Oh. So... some of you may have it set to where you can still middle mouse button to examine this, but I have to right click examine. So you could also try using middle mouse button to examine items to see if it'll work for you. Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. I thought that was lootable. I guess not. Pretty sure it is, but... and search for splint till we find one. If we don't find one, then we move on. Remember, you need the wrench. You also need nuts and bolts for your hideout. Those things don't have to be found in raid, so if you have like excess space right here, you can throw them there. So like a bulb, for example, is needed for hideout illumination 1. You can throw a bulb right there, and same thing with the awl. You can throw an awl in your butt and just exfil with it. Come over here, see if there's anything for us, which the PS ammo we can take. Notice our pain's back, our or not concussion, but the weird screen is back. I can't think of what it's called. Hold on, let me look. The pain screen. So this is what pain looks like. Right now it shows me on painkillers, but we're currently not. We have pain right here. Notice how it disappeared on the painkillers, so our pain came back. And now our screen's doing this. We can hit 5 again. Hit the gold star. Notice how long it takes versus if we had Vaseline, for example. Vaseline is faster. We have that concussion again, along with tinnitus. Here we go, a Salewa. Now that we have a Salewa over a cheese and we get another splint, we can drag the Salewa to the cheese spot, discard the cheese. We can drag the splint down. We can put it into number 6 if we wanted. We can change those spots to where I don't use the SJ6, I just use a splint. Toothpaste you need, TP you need. Alkali just sells pretty well. Eventually you do need it, but it does sell very well. So now that we have that splint, we can press 6. It's not going to use the injector, it's just going to use the splint. We no longer have to worry about our broken arm. And now our pain's gone. Our pain will go away. So the fracture's going to heal up. The pain's going to go away. We're still on painkillers, but it's not as bad. And our hunger and our hydration's going down, so we're going to need to eat and drink some food in a second. This is a chocolate bar. If you come across that and don't know what it is, emergency water. Sugar sells really good on the market, but it's also a food, so we can just go ahead and eat. You always want to eat before you hydrate, because typically whenever you eat, your hydration goes down. Especially with like the croutons, for example. You'll notice the hydration goes down a lot. And then same thing with the chocolate. Now we're at 0 hydration, and so we're gonna go ahead and use the sugar as well. It's not as big of a deal, but it is kind of something to keep in mind. Is once you dehydrated, you start losing health. So if we get our health, and kind of watch it. Everything will tick down by 1 whenever we start moving. And working ourselves harder. Well, I guess it's not going to. But dehydration is not that big of a deal. It can kill you though. So peas does offer hydration and energy. The herring, if you can think fish is salty, salty is going to take away water. So now our water is going to go back down. And then we have our water. Can use a set amount or we can use it all. If you eat and drink in game, or while in raid, it's going to give you more XP for your metabolism. So always opt to try to eat and drink in game if you can, even if it's at, like, let's say you just got done with a raid and you're going back in for another one, just take in food and water for that. So now we're gonna go ahead and sprint all the way to Xville. We have possible old gas station, which it is green, so we can run to old gas station. You can always jump right here. We're gonna have a fight out. This is where I die. Something to keep in mind if you have this spawn. This is called the giving tree right here. Sometimes stuff will spawn here, even in an injector case. So just kind of keep that in mind. You have a medical spawn right here. Which gave us a tourniquet this time. Just kind of guessing where he is. He's gonna be down here. Where this other guy goes, what I'm curious about. Is that him right there? Alright. And now we can exfil. This is the old gas station. Go in here. Typically there's some good stuff that spawns in here. I've had armor spawn in here. I mean, just regular attachments, sometimes food, all kind of stuff. Really fast, I do want to show what the SJ6 is for because you don't come across those often. Right, so SJ6, it's going to take down my running stamina a little bit at first, but it's also going to decrease the amount used, so I can just run around and I'll run for a really long time. And so, like, with the SJ6, now I have stamina to go over here and check for a valuable spawn and get back. So, come all the way over here, run into cover, run into the building, and then I look, measuring tape you need it for your hideout. And we look, we run over here, see if there's anything on this shelf, doesn't look like it. We can loot a crate. At this point in time, nobody really should be in the raid besides you, so I mean, it's the last minute of raid. Unless somebody's doing the same thing, you shouldn't be worried. But notice how my stamina just goes down really, really slowly. So that enables me to sprint all the way across back over to here. Just keep in mind you got to be like pretty much in the exfils area, which is going to be down here. You have to be in the exfil area at like 10 seconds because sometimes it doesn't register that you're there at first, and it takes 7 seconds to actually exfil. So just make sure you're there. Make sure you're paying attention to your timer, checking it often. It'll pop up red in the top right corner whenever something happens. So just keep that in mind. And I think we kind of went over the basis of everything. For the most part, we didn't really go over looting exactly because I didn't have a backpack, but we did touch up on some things. So I think that will help us all. And I'm gonna continue on. We're gonna continue playing with our boys and Let them kind of relay some of the same information that I relayed to y'all just now. Let them know how to play the game. All right, I'm back. An hour later. It wasn't too bad. It's an hour and one raid to go through all this stuff. You there? All right. Nice. What's up, Shifty? Are you the second viewer that's lurking? We might stop. Yeah, what's up? Nice. Yeah, and I think so. I think I can go through it and do as long as I'm host. That's like one of the main things. Oh, you're good. So as long as I can set up, like, have a time where we have like a full lobby, everybody's kind of new. I can set it to co-op mode to where we do it in an offline raid, and I can show y'all how to do all this stuff while in raid instead of just saying and showing. So that's something that. Oh, is that you that asked that? Okay, okay.
Log in, and I was like, oh, okay. And then you started touching on that as I was logging back in so I could post that. I was like, I'm still gonna send it anyway. No, but that's awesome though that it'll do that. That it'll prioritize what you need.
Yeah. Somebody bottom left. Somebody bottom left.
I know I see it, but it don't fucking go that far.
What's up, Wolf? Sorry. I just went over teaching some Tarkov to a bunch of my buddies that are
It's a lot more entertaining being able to watch that and stuff like that, and watch you guys while I'm doing year end and taxes and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I just here. I'm gonna drag us to this other chat really fast. So yeah, I just one of the main things that I wish for is so we can it's like I had a keyboard, like a keyboard API. Yep. I'm not sure if you've seen me like run Rocket League or play Rocket League, but whenever I play Rocket League, I have my controller up on screen, and so it allows me to do some stuff. How you been, dude? Wolf, how you been?
So you can see how your fingers and how all your keybinds move and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I from what I'm seeing, do I have you added on this other account? I don't think I do.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
What's your name in game? Hold on.
Shift. Oh, I probably don't. It's Shiftovsky. Shift, and then it'll be Oscar Victor Sierra Kilo Indigo.
Okay, I found you. I'm gonna wait for him to get out of raid so we can go in and
so I can see what you guys are all about. Yeah, because I will say that, like, was it you that was saying that, like, the number one thing that people queue on is the audio?
Yes. Yeah.
Dude, Ligma is so loud.
I know. It's everybody. Just some.
I played with him. I'm like, dude, you are so loud. Because like he's looting things. And it's like he's popping off shots and running everywhere. I'm like, stop running.
Yeah. That's one of my biggest factors is like, if
you'll get there if you're quiet. You'll get there. Just stop running.
Well, the primary thing is we need to. The primary thing is like whenever the looting will come, and that's what people like. I was talking with Booty earlier. The people in the group don't understand is like the looting. We will eventually get to the looting part, but right now we need to understand our dynamic as a team and understand how we move, because this game, I mean, as much as it's just a game, it's not as forgiving as other games. So
no, it's not. I mean, you think about it, like even when you got shot, just like one or two times, like you lost your leg, you lost your gut was hit, your head was hit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Whereas like in COD, like you think about it in COD, it's like, oh, you got shot once, so what? In this game, you could be dead.
Yep, absolutely. But I'm gonna share the link to that video and the news and updates and
Well, that'd be super helpful. Yeah,
yeah.
no. Well, and I
Um,
like seeing the difference in the keybinds because I mean, I looked at the game like probably a year and a half ago, 2 years ago when it came out, or however long it was.
mhm.
And I never really got into it because I started playing Call of Duty and that kind of transition, that change.
Yeah.
And then now that it's back out and DMZ is basically dead, it's like I follow everybody. It's like, all right, well let's go find something else. With you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back into his chat and drag you up there or into his live
Yeah,
stream.
no problem. Yeah, I mean I'm gonna be
It's
in
just-
and out, kind of going around. I'll leave when I got to go to the bank and all that kind of stuff. So.
Okay. All right. Hopefully we weren't too bad. Kill anybody else?
Not since that one person. I mean, I've killed 6 people now.
Oh, nice, nice. Well, once you get out of that raid, I'm gonna do an offline mode, and we're gonna do offline co-op.
I need to start going to do some looting. I know there's a guy dead in there because I killed him. There's like 3 or 4 of them dead over here.
I think those are scavs in that field.
Nah, they were players because I was watching them run and then like
Really?
run around. There's like a squad of 3 of them and I took at least 2 of them out.
It's wild. Most time people don't run across that field.
Yeah.
Unless you're Ligma. Ligma just runs down Main Street. I'm like, what are you doing?
I don't know where that. I think that dude's sitting here waiting. The one that was to the left. I think he's waiting for me to get out of here.
So something else
This
to kind
lobby's
of keep in
empty.
mind, stream, is like
I know.
if you do have the gamma pouch, the way that I'd set it up is the CMS splint, and then down to your painkillers, do a Vaseline, or if you want to take one of those in, you can. The morphine, it's a one-time use. You can keep it down here, but it's only a one-time use and it takes up a spot, so I wouldn't use it. Personally, I wouldn't use it. We got a splint in here. We got painkiller. We got extra ammo. Let's bring an extra bandage and an extra tourniquet.
So I completed that mission, the pop cans mission, since I killed all the people. Oh, that's good.
Nice. So extra tourniquet just in case we use all 3 of those, and then extra
How many do you have
bandage.
to kill for
This
that?
is like how I
5.
would run on
Total of
the.
5. I got them all.
You overachiever. You got.
This is how I'd run on the first set, like the first time ever going in. Run extra meds, just a lot of extra meds and extra ammo for whatever gun you have. So, if you wanted to personally, you could take in a car after you use your cheese. Use the car. The car is something that also stops light bleeding, so you don't have to carry extra bandages. You could just right click, use that for your light bleed if you have an additional light bleed. But
Oh, I hear you, you fucker. Where you at?
I heard that.
I know he's still here.
okay, so with that, I'm gonna go ahead and end this stream, so I can later cut it up and just have a solid stream. But I will restart the stream, and we'll do it with other people involved, with other like my friends. We can so we can all see how we move and communicate as a team and how we utilize these